You're watching another Nerd Stalker interview. Let's talk about creating a startup. So, ideas, the number four would be ideas that may facilitate creating a startup business. And one of the quotes out of that article for that, sometimes businesses concept discoveries occur by serendipity, while at the other times thoughtful innovation and creativity lead to the business idea. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Hey, look, man. When you walk across a cow pasture and you step in something, it's going to happen. And believe me, you can also recognize and identify a business when you see it.
Yeah.
I have a brother that does a lot of church-related work, and all of a sudden one day he realized that he could buy the supplies for the church and sell the supplies to the church because they did, because they're buying them. So he became a retailer for church supplies. Okay, he wasn't helping the church to be able to be a retailer, but he realized that he could end up selling them the stuff and save them money. And so by designing everything in that manner, by serendipity, he made a discovery that it was a business.
Mm.
There are lots of businesses like that that you don't realize can take place, and it's the ability to see an event in your life or something else that where you're filling a need, something somebody wants, that you realize you can do that, and it's just happened to be you at the right place at the right time, and all of a sudden you realize that's a business.
Now,
Now,
I notice with you is that you have a lot of different businesses. Now, you focus a lot in the biomed, biotech area, right? But
oh yeah.
I noticed that you're in enough businesses that you could, and you think strategically enough, it seems from our conversations, that you could connect certain dots between each other, even though one may be pillars of themselves, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I work with some cancer-related programs, and in fact, I'm going to be out at a conference out in San Francisco, and I'm interviewing some cancer companies. But there are relationships between some of these companies, and sometimes you can put them together. Sometimes you see some new things when you're interacting with a university, and you see one piece of a puzzle and another piece in another location. Sometimes you can hook those together.
Right.
In terms of creating something, if you're solving a problem and you're being creative, working with one company where the inventor realized that, she's a woman, that going in and being assessed for breast cancer requires mammography. And then if the mammography is suspicious, they have to go out and do a biopsy, which is a standard practice, but only about 80-something% of those never needed a biopsy. The others are the ones that needed a biopsy because those are the ones that have cancer. So you're running biopsies on about 85% of the people that never needed them. They go through all the stress, all the strain, and when a woman has a suspicious mammogram, it's stressful. They don't know what to expect. Same way with a guy with prostate cancer when you don't know what's happening. I mean, there's a stress associated with that. And then when you get through the biopsies, there's a stress associated with that, and there's also potential risks. This lady came up with a blood test by accident. She was actually trying to create a therapeutic for breast cancer, and realized that the antibody she created was so specific for one of the antigens from breast cancer that it became something she could use to identify whether the patient has it. So now we're developing a breast cancer test,
Wow.
which will be from blood. So the goal would be is to if you have a suspicious mammogram, you run a blood test. If it's negative, you're done. If it's positive, you go for a biopsy.
Wow.
That can have some real potential to it. And so far, she's gotten no false negatives, which is good. We had 2 false positives, people with underlying disease, but those were okay. False negatives mean you miss cancers. False positives mean you send somebody in for a test that doesn't need to have one.
Right.
But they have gotten, out of 200 patients so far, 100% identification of every patient with breast cancer. The same test can work, similar test can work for prostate cancer or pancreatic cancer and several others. She partially invented it by design, but partially came up with it by serendipity. because she was creating a therapeutic, but realized the application had potential something else. So what did she do? She fit a need, an unmet market, market where it was real need. She designed something and then realized how to apply it in a unique way. And this happens a lot. Many inventions come up not because somebody was designing it. In fact, we used to have a joke. And the joke, around the laboratories is, why do the postdocs win so many Nobel Prizes? The answer is because they're too stupid to know the experiment won't work. This is the same way. If people tell you something won't work and you never do it, you may be missing something. Yeah. When you go through and you figure out how to make something work and you make a discovery, that's important, and that's the same way in business. It's like the person comes up with a successful business because they were too stupid to know that business could never succeed.
Wow. Okay. Well, that was number 4.